Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bobble Pod. We've scrapped the element of series. We're just doing episode by episode now, which come out weekly. You should have already seen some of our episodes from Dubai. We hope you enjoyed them. There will be more episodes of me in Dubai when I travel and go out there. Today, we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't use a digital marketing agency. Ooh, shocker. Josh said earlier, am I going to end up in the job center at the end of this talk? No, because the topic is called Don't Use a Digital Marketing Agency. And I'm going to get into a little bit about that and why. But before we always start, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, as I always look at YouTube, hi YouTube, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, the bell notification, so you can get notifications of all the episodes that come out weekly on a Tuesday morning. So we're back. We're in new offices. We're in a new location. If you're looking on YouTube, you can see it. And be wary, the location is going to continue to change over the coming weeks until our new podcast recording studio is ready. So if you watch on YouTube, you'll see some better views. We are in our new offices. We've got a lot of updates as an agency. New offices here, new offices in Dubai. Best agency 3 years in a row. And 6 years as an agency as we celebrate the birthday party, as Josh knows, but Callum didn't turn up. You can apologise to her.
I apologise. I unfortunately I had other commitments, but I will happily have birthday cake. He
says that, but I saw him KFC while I was driving home. That was his other commitment. So the title of this episode, let's get straight into it, is Don't Use a Digital Marketing Agency. And I say that is because you shouldn't use a digital marketing agency until you're actually ready to bring one on board. And one thing I keep saying, and this is the issue we have in the industry, not just as an agency, in the industry, is, a digital marketing agency isn't a replacement for you to hire a marketing manager. So what will happen is, and it happens more with, smaller businesses as opposed to larger companies, but you'd be surprised when I go into big firms and they still don't have a marketing director or a marketing manager. That they think they're going to solve all their problems by hiring a digital marketing agency. Because apparently we're now going to become your marketing manager. No, we can't. We are an extension of your marketing team. We do digital services. That's what we're here to do. We're here to provide the expertise that you can't hire in-house. We're here to give you the resources that you don't have in-house within those specific digital channels. Most companies only need a handful of people in the marketing department, a director, a manager, and a junior. So there's someone on the ladder, someone progression and growing all the way through. And the marketing team's internally's job is to support the MD, the CEO. What are the business objectives of the company? If the company's objective is to increase turnover from X to X over the next 3 months years, then the marketing department has to create sub-mini objectives and aims and objectives to how are we going to achieve that. By spending X amount on advertising, we need to achieve an X return on ad spend and return on investment. So we need to find specialists in key digital channels that are going to increase our customer base, improve our brand loyalty with existing customers, and increase our revenue within the market, increase our impression share, market share overall. That's literally the basics of what how the objectives and setup should work. But unfortunately, what happens is a lot of companies and MDs come up saying, "Oh, I need a marketing team." Well, we'll hire a marketing manager or even a junior assistant and then hire a marketing agency, because the main issue that happens between the two is we're dealing with someone who is too busy to look at the marketing, which is why he wants to bring someone in, but decides to bring in an agency. And they're too busy running the company, managing the HR, managing the finances, managing the legal, managing the operations of the whole company. And I understand it because I am a CEO and I do manage a lot of other elements. I've got to oversee the business development with my BD director. I've got to oversee the paid media team. I've got to make sure the SEO team is delivering on their elements. I've got to make sure everything's done from payroll, accountancy, work with accountants, HR, everything, onboarding, recruitment, legal, traveling, open up a new office from, basic admin, etc. and elements like that. It's, time to create the podcast, planning meetings, elements like that. So your time gets pulled everywhere and everywhere. But an agency isn't a replacement for a marketing manager. And that's what I find with a few businesses that we profile. But what we do to qualify leads is we qualify and we look at the following information. So first of all, when we go into a potential, or we have a potential prospect, the first thing we say is, who is the marketing manager? Do you have a marketing manager or an equivalent person in that team who we deal with? Because dealing with the owners, dealing with the CEOs is a nightmare because they just become too performance driven. Do you have a marketing budget in mind? So don't be going up to a marketing agency if you definitely don't have a marketing budget in mind. Oh yeah, I need a marketing budget. I need to increase my sales. Okay, what's the budget? What are the number of sales you want to achieve? And that's why having, marketing objectives is really, really important before you go out and speak to a digital marketing agency. And that moves on to option C, which is set clear marketing objectives. What are they? So if they don't have a key person of contact for the marketing for us as an agency, if they don't have a budget and they don't have clear objectives and who they're trying to target, then we really very rarely will move forward with that particular client. It's difficult for us because it makes our job a lot harder. That means, I'm going to struggle, or the team's going to struggle with the account management of that, because the expectations against what we're going to do, there's an element of education. And that brings me to the final point, D, which is, do they understand the value of digital marketing above baseline results? So this can be related to the education into digital marketing. Do they understand the value of digital marketing, what it brings, what it does? If you don't know those 4 things, you shouldn't be considering bringing on a digital marketing agency. Now, I understand that point D isn't as important because we as an agency educate people, educate our clients. We do talks, seminars, etc. We do training sessions for our clients on specific topics like GA4, SEO, PPC, paid social. We have it with a few clients. We have it with one of our clients, Stockwell Park. They had a new person join, and we basically did training sessions on the SEO, PPC, paid social. We brought on a e-commerce client through SpinCare, and they brought on an apprentice as well to support in the marketing department. But we realized we need to educate and upskill them in terms of understanding what KPIs, terminology, and different channels are, how they work. So we would do that. So the last point isn't as imperative as the first 3. And I highlight this because I wasn't going to do this specific talk. I only had one initially planned, and then I changed it to don't use a digital marketing agency because, and I'm going to give a big shout out to Lewis Kemp, who's the CEO of Lightbulb Media. He did a post on LinkedIn, and I have a picture of it. So Josh will put it up on. So if you're looking on YouTube, there will be you should see the post now. And the post was incredible. I reshared it saying, Lewis Kemp, take a bow, could not have said it better. Post from Lewis Kemp was very simple. He said, expecting 10 times returns in month 1 with 0 data and a £200 budget, don't call us. He said, got a habit of tweaking meticulously crafted copy because your partner, neighbor, Deliveroo driver thinks their version has more zing, don't call us. Going to completely ignore all the changes we recommend and then ask us why you aren't growing, don't call us. Planning to offer payment and kudos, exposure, partnerships, or anything but legal tender, don't call us. Want us to do exactly the same thing you've been doing for the last 3 years, but produce different results, you guessed it, don't call us. And I couldn't have said it better. And this comes back down to, not having, clear aims and objectives as a business, transferring them into clear marketing objectives and aims for the business, hiring someone in the marketing team before you go out. And the problem you have, and I see this, we do showcase events. We go to marketing showcases. We do 12 of them in a year. We go around the UK, different cities. And a good proportion of the people we talk to, and when I ask is what you're struggling with, they said, well, I'm the only person in the marketing team. It's just me in the company. That is the marketing manager. I don't have a junior, don't have a senior. I report to the MD and the board. And at that point, it does. If you're a big company and you've only got one marketing manager, you are going to struggle, which is then you do need a digital marketing agency. You do need the expertise so they can focus on strategy, implementation, results, forecasting, making sure campaigns deliver on time, depending on what kind of business you are. And then, yes, bring in a digital marketing that supports on the digital strategy, will, deliver good quality PPC, SEO, paid social, whatever results you need in analytics, because then it frees up time and performance for them to work more on elements instead of every day working on SEO, PPC. It's hard for one individual to be an expert in all of them. I'm an expert in all the services we offer at Bobble Digital. The 6 services we offer: strategy, PPC, SEO, paid social, display and video, and analytics. And I'm an expert because I can't sit in one thing. I have to continue learning. I can't just be an expert in SEO. I want to know how SEO works with PPC. How does PPC work with paid social? How does paid social work with display and video? Where does analytics come into it? How is that all overseen by strategy? And they're the things that I were good at and what made me valuable in the agencies I worked for before setting up my own agency. So you're very rarely going to be able to hire someone with all those kind of expertise because they end up running or being CEOs or MDs of their own companies or freelancers essentially because they know their value, what they bring to the table. So that post, and again, big shout out to Lewis Kemp for that one, just nailed it on the head. So, don't come with a small budget expecting great returns. Then no, don't use a digital marketing agency. Go out to a freelancer then. Someone who, wouldn't be happy to give a few hours a week to support you on a freelance term on an hourly rate. If you take into consideration that first point is our minimum fees in agency is £1,500. So if you come up to us with a budget of £500 or £1,000 to spend on ad spend, our fee is 50% above what you're spending. So it has to be realistic in terms of what you want to spend and what you want to get out of it. And that £1,500 can be split into 15 minimum hours of support. 1 hour goes onto a 1 hour minimum call per month with the client. Then there's an hour that goes on to reporting and analytics at the very least. Then the remaining 12 hours are gone into actual optimizing, building, creating campaign strategy in the 12 hours that we give, per week. And as an agency, we can do that because if you hire someone at 37.5 hours a week, that kind of same work, we've created processes, efficiencies, and expertise to be able to do that in 15 hours a month, essentially. But you're not paying someone 30, 40 grand a year for 37.5 hours a week. You're only actually paying us 15 grand a month. So it's only 18 grand a year. So actually it's less, it's the same as hiring a marketing apprentice, but getting the resource and support, and to some degree, guaranteed results based on data and insight. So if you come up with a small budget and expecting great returns, you're unrealistic in terms of what's going to happen, especially when you've got no data to show for it. But that's where we have to educate. We have a local client, a chain of convenience stores, and started doing online delivery. Never done it, but seen other people, other competitors do it. I think in the first 2 weeks, we only had like 5, 6 orders. And then the week after that, we had 15. And then the week after that, we had another 15. And now it's increasing again. It's a steady build. When you're working from zero data, you've got to continue to build it you've got to build it from something. You can't just build it from nothing. So we have to build a data pipeline. We have to let the algorithms work and understand. We have to test different ad copy. We need to make sure the audience is defined. All these things take time, resource, and elements. So if you're not willing to be patient to a degree as well. And the other thing is, and we had this issue recently, and I actually have to tell one of my team members off for it, is a client brought in a new marketing manager and he wanted to add in a CPA, target CPA to some of the campaigns. So a team member said yes. The results dropped off. And the team member, and when I feed back after a few days, said, well, why is this dropping off in performance? And he's like, we did that. But he goes, I wasn't sure we should do that. I said, well, you're the one in charge. You need to say no because we're the experts. They don't like our response. Tough. If he wants you to do something and he's not the expert, that's you have every right to say no because I know it's going to detriment it. Now we're set back 2-3 weeks in performance because we've had to revert those changes, which is not ideal. But obviously the client is aware. So you can't just appease the marketing managers and the clients as well. So if you're going into a digital marketing agency and you want to say, do it my way, then no, don't use a digital marketing agency. What's the point? You don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. You hire smart people so they can tell you what to do. It's as simple as that. I hire key people in my team to tell me what we need to do. I bring in a business development manager to tell me, what am I doing good? What am I doing bad? And where can we improve? That's the exact same reason of bringing a digital marketing agency. Unless you're willing to hear criticism, feedback, and hear no at times, then don't bring on a digital marketing agency. Don't expect them to just listen to you and deliver results and then complain you're not getting results because essentially it's your strategy. We had this in 2022, January 2022. We had spent all December doing a strategy for a well-known chain. I'm not going to say who here in Leeds. New product launch that they wanted to do, new website launch, and we said, okay, we can do that. worked with them on getting it all done. We developed our strategy, and then the MD turned around and said, no, I just want to do this. I just want to do that. I don't want to do that. To the point where I actually fired them as a client. And they said, why are you leaving us? I went, because this isn't our strategy, it's yours. So I can amend it. We can be agile. We can amend it in line with budgets and stuff. But if someone comes in and says and agrees to costing and pricing and the strategy and the time we've done to get the data, insights, competitor analysis, audience analysis, everything, and identify the challenge, turn around and said, no, I just want to do this. Well, then do that. Why hire me? Why hire my agency? So that's why you got to be elements. One thing you need to really focus on is model I want you to take into consideration, which is called the RACI model. And that basically stands for 4 keywords. Responsible, who's responsible for the execution of the activity. Accountable, who's accountable for the activity, process, and signs off the work. Consulted, who are the subject matter experts to be consulted. Informed, who are the people who need to be updated in the progress subject. Take those 4 elements into consideration if you are going to work with a digital marketing agency. If you don't, there's no point. The other things I would take is that, remember, before you're going to engage with an agency, as a bit of a checklist, think, well, do you need a strategic partner or do you need help with just one-off tasks? What are you trying to achieve with digital marketing? Are you there to create awareness, marketing leads, generate lead sales, direct sales, or something else? And also, what kind of digital marketing do you need? Is it SEO, PPC, display, social, something else? Set clear objectives, KPIs, and actually develop a pitch, a brief for that agency that you go out to say, here's our objectives, here's our budget, here's what we're trying to achieve, here's our customers, here's our competitors. Now you develop a strategy in terms of how you're going to use that information and help us achieve those elements. A brief helps an agency straight away. Too many times people come up to us and we have to do that. But that's why we do the free digital auditing strategy, because that first 30-minute call, we get the brief information we need. So before we do it, we have a consultation for 30 minutes. We say, right, who are your competitors? Who are your ideal target audience segments? What's the aims and objectives? Is there a target CPA we need to hit? Is there a number of leads we need to hit? What's the return on investment you want to see? What budget do you have? We ask those specific questions. And once we have that information, then yes, we can go away and put a strategy together complementary and say, right, with the information, what you're trying to achieve, this is how we would do it. And you know what you can expect. So I hope that's been some insights to you as business owners in terms of what you need to consider. Remember the RACI model checklist: responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. We'll have them as bullet points on the video as well on YouTube, essentially, when you see it. And remember, you don't need an agency unless you actually know you have your foundations in-house built. You've got set objectives, have a budget in place, and who's going to be responsible for managing all that work. Otherwise, it becomes a difficult task and you just become a dictator to the agency. And eventually what will happen is you're not going to see results. And then what we hear is when we go into other clients and agencies, the same thing is, oh, we had an agency last time, it didn't really work out. And then I ask, how many agencies have you worked with? And they might say 4 or 5. And I say, they're not the problem, you are. And when I'm coming in and I go into most businesses and they're like, oh, well, actually been working with an agency and they've dropped off in performance, then yeah, it makes sense that you want to drop. You might have been with someone for 5, 6, 7, even 10 years, and you might need a new fresh of eyes. You want a different approach and you might try it. Fair enough. That happens. But when someone tells me they've had 4 or 5 agencies in the last, handful of years, they're not the problem. You are. There's a trend here and I can see that. And I highlight that to them. And saying, look, we're not here to be the next number 6 or number 7 on your list. We're here to change things, but that means you need to change as well. So hope you found that useful. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Remember, if you have any questions or any topics you want us specific to focus on, at Bobble Digital using our handle across all social media. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or use the hashtags Mr. Bobble, Ask Bobble, or hashtag BobblePod. Thank you for listening.